Good morning everyone, and welcome to Paper Plates and Ribbon Roses. Today I'd just like to take a few minutes to show you how I created these 3D petal flowers using shapes from close to my heart's exclusive Cricut cartridge called Art Philosophy. It's a great cartridge. I just got my Cricut at Christmas, so I just haven't had a lot of time to play around with it, but I'm really enjoying it. One of the things that you will notice with cuts or from the Cricut is that if you don't do something to them, they tend to look a little flat and not that exciting. So using different things like ink or layering or folding, you can add a little more dimension to some of your cuts and make them a little more interesting. So to make this, I'm going to show you how I made this particular 6-petaled flower. And this is from the new paper pack Pemberley from the spring and summer 2012 idea book. Wonderful paper pack. I just love this color, the colors in this. So to make that flower, I cut 6 of the Petal 1 shape, which is found on page 65 of the Cricut Art Philosophy booklet. So 6 of those cut at 1 1/4 inches. You also need a base for that particular flower, and for that I used a 6-petal flower, flower number 7, found on page 39. So 6 of petal 1 at 1 1/4 inches, and 1 of flower number 7 cut at 3/4 of an inch. You vary the size of your base depending upon the size of your petals. I've made this flower with 1-inch petals. That's as small as I've done, up to 1.5 up to this point. I'm sure you can make them as large as you want, but as you increase the size of your petals, you should increase the size of your base. But I found the 3/4 inch one worked quite well with this size and with the 1-inch petals. All right, so we'll just put the base aside for now. Now the first thing you're going to do is take an ink color and you're going to ink the edges. This again is going to add a little bit of dimension and highlight the edges of your ink, of your petals. Now the paper pack Pemberley, the color yellow in it is actually, honey. I tried the honey and I wasn't really happy with the results, so I actually am inking the edges of this with creme brulee. So I would suggest that you take a scrap of whatever paper you're using for the petals and try it and see what you like. You may like a color that's totally different. I tend to use a color that's just slightly darker than the main color on the main pattern. Excuse me, on your petal. So I'm quickly going to ink up the edges on these petals. You can put as little or as much as you want. They do tend to fade a little bit, so you might want to keep that in mind. Depends how much color you want on it. All right. So I'm just going to do a few of them. You get the idea. Now, the next thing we have to address is the back side. Now, if you see, for this particular piece of paper, the one side that I'm using for my petals is actually quite consistent in color and in design. The back side, however, has each piece is different and looks quite different. So I have found that for these flowers, they look most impressive if you have a nice solid color on those tiny little inside petals. I tend to prefer the darker colors, so I will use black, outdoor denim, cocoa, or chocolate. However, if you prefer the light, that works fine too. I have another card I'll show you later that I did with white, with a lighter center. Now, you have 2 ways that you can do the back side of this. The first one would be just taking your ink pad, and I'm using the outdoor denim, and just ink up your sponge and add ink to about a ½ inch from the tip and up. Okay, and get it as dark as you can for more consistent results on the right side. Now, as you can see, doing it this way, you get quite messy, and some of the ink might come on to the other side. So the other way that you can color the back side of your petal is with one of our exclusive inks markers. So this is Outdoor Denim, and I'm just going to quickly color up about a ½ inch. Okay, I probably shouldn't have done it on here, but that's okay. So there's one. So you can see this method is a lot less messy. I wouldn't necessarily say it's easier, but it is less messy. You're going to get ink all over your fingers, and you get a nice solid. See, look at the difference there. I'm just going to darken this one up a bit. All right. So once you've inked that portion of all 6 petals, you're then going to take your petals and fold this part up to this side. So I usually do it anywhere from a ¼ inch to a ½ inch. Obviously, the farther up you fold it, the shorter your petals will be, and the smaller your final finished flower will be. And the farther up you fold it, the more of that petal is going to show. The main thing is just be consistent. If you're going to fold them up a ¼ inch, fold them all up a ¼ inch. If you want to fold them half, fold them all up half. So once that is done, the next step you're going to do is you're going to pinch these together and glue them. Now I'm using a liquid glass to do that. And I just take my thumbnail and I just fold the this end up in half so that they're even. Now be careful that you don't fold all the way through your petal. All right, so I'm just going to fold these all up first. Of course, I didn't let the ink dry that much, so I'm getting a fair amount of ink on my fingers, but that's okay. So we'll get the initial fold done. And then I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glass, very little bit. I think I got more than I want there. Pinch just the very edge of it together. Then take a clothespin and just nip the end just at the very end of it. And while you're doing that, take your thumb and just sort of flatten and shape the petal a little bit. So that's one. Get these done quickly. Tiny bit of glue. Pinch together. And there you go. Tiny bit of glue. Just catch at the very, very end and fold that out. All right, excuse me. I'm just going to wipe the end of my liquid glass off so it doesn't clog. And I store my liquid glass upside down. All right. So we're almost ready to put this together. So then you take your base, and if you want to, you can either if it's an even numbered petals, then you can draw lines across and find the center point, or you can just eye it up and sort of mark it. It just gives you a little bit of a excuse me, a guideline to placing your petals. All right. So these should be pretty much dry. Now, when you're gluing your petals to your base, what you want to do is use a fast drying glue. The liquid glass doesn't dry fast enough, so your petals aren't going to stay where you want them. You can use a glue gun, although they're not my favorite thing. So it's up to you. Any fast drying tacky glue will work. So all you do now is, if you can see, I've got a bit of a ridge here on the back side of my petal. And you want to put your glue, not a lot, just along that ridge. Don't go too far out into your petal. Then take that, place it along one of the petals on your base, like that, and just press it down. That's one. So again, a fine amount of glue on the back of the ridge there, and then place it on your base, like that. All right. So I'm just going to put that aside for a moment. I've already got a flower almost completed because I just wanted to save a little bit of time. So here is the same thing as basically what I started to show you here, except I've already got 5 of my petals attached. I have one more left to do. So I shouldn't have closed my glue up. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue along the ridge at the back, and place it in on the remaining petal of my base. Just hold that for a second. All right. And to finish it off, just using some of our pearl opaques, use your piercing tool and just place a pearl in the center. And there you have it. A 6-petaled flower. All right, I'm quickly just going to cover some of the other flowers that I made with different petal shapes. So, excuse me, this one again was made from petal number 2, which is found on page 59 of the Cricut cartridge booklet. So for this one though, you need to cut 7 of petal number 2, and you need to cut a different base. You need to cut flower number 6, which allows for 7 petals. So I have one of those here. So I cut 7 of petal number 2 at 1 1/4 inches, and I cut 1 of flower number 6 for the base at 3/4 inch. And you basically follow the same thing. You ink up the edges, you color the back portion of one end if you like, you fold that up like that and pinch it together and glue it, just like you did the rounded ended flowers. So just to quickly show you as well, this flower here the petals were cut at 1 1/4. These were cut at 1 inch. I don't think I'd go much smaller than 1 inch, but you could try maybe with a lighter paper. And for this particular one here, I cut 5. I made 5 petals, and these were 1 inch as well. Now you can maybe see on this one, I didn't color the back side, and you can see the back side of this paper is all different colors and designs and patterns. So the center little petals and interior petals are all a little different, so you don't get quite the same effect I find as when you color them all so that they match, that they're all the same. So that's where the difference lies. Now the other thing I was going to show you was, so I'll show you 2 flowers that are the same. These are both cut the same size. This I colored the back side, back 1/2 inch and folded in with outdoor denim. And on this particular one, I didn't color it at all. And if you remember, this paper has a fairly uniform back, so the difference is that it's light. I don't particularly care for it as much. I don't think it gives you the same impact as if you use a dark color on the back side. Like how this card turned out though, this is using the Paper Pack Stella awesome, brilliant colors on that. And just before I go, one more quick card I'd like to show you. I was playing around with negative spaces last week, and I created this thank you card, cutting out the word thanks, I believe at 1 inch or 3/4 of an inch, and then backed each of the letters negative spaces with different colors from Stella and from Pemberley. I made this flower here, which is a 6-petaled flower, using just white cardstock. I didn't do any inking, and I just wanted to see how the white on white looked. And I do like it. It just gives you a little different effect. It's a little harder to work with than the lighter cardstock weight paper, but it does work as well. And then I just put a brad in the center. So I think that's it. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial, and until next time.